Hey everybody, and welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Adrienne. Um, Actually, we're going to try something new today. So, for my birthday a couple of weeks ago, our son took me out for the day and we went bookstore hopping. We both love literature. I ended up with one book and about 6 or 7 cookbooks. So, one of them that we found, he found it, we thought it was hilarious. I looked at the recipes and there were a couple in here that I wanted, so we just went ahead and got it. It is the recipes and tales from the Inns of Sanctuary of the Diablo. So we've got the Diablo cookbook. So as we were looking through here, there were a couple of things that stood out to us, but this was one that got us at first, right here. So what this is a longshoreman's crab salad bun. Now, I did not use the crab salad last time. My husband wanted the buns. What I did with the buns is I found a new recipe for us of the middle was something similar to you would find in a pork sticky bun. But today, my friend brought over some things. When she cleaned out her cupboard, she does her pantry. She does that a lot and brings me a lot of things. And I almost feel like I'm on an episode of that show where she just brings ingredients and I figure out what to do with them. Well, I have 1 can of lump crab meat. And so it's not enough to do the whole thing, but it's going to be enough for me to be able to cut this down to that amount and make this crab salad. I'm going to make these larger than it says to in here. I think they're great for an appetizer size, and I might make these enough for this. However, my husband found a video on one of the other socials, and it was a lady making a type of taco in a fry bread, but it wasn't a regular, what we know of as taco meat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this bread recipe because it's amazing. I'm going to go ahead and double this recipe, use half of it, and make them the size for the crab salad. And then I'm going to make the other ones larger, do a bigger bread, fold them over like they do. And I've got some cut up roast in the refrigerator, and that's what we're going to use. But once I do this, I got to check that out. So I just have a lot to do. First thing we're going to do is get this bread going. So bear with me and let's do it. Okay, so what we're going to do is I am doubling this. So this calls for 1/3 of a cup of warm water and a 1/2 a cup of warm milk. So I'm doubling this. I did not put enough in here. I looked at this wrong. So the milk, I need a cup because I am doubling this. It calls for 1/2 of a cup. So there's my cup. I'm out of regular milk, so I'm going to use the shelf stable. I do keep this um, on the shelf for cases of like today where I'm out of regular cow's milk that's in the refrigerator. I pick those up. Sometimes we get them at the food pantry, but I did find those at the Dollar Tree. So I usually keep a couple of them. I usually keep 2 of the 1%, and then I have either an oat milk or an almond milk back there. All right, so I've got a cup of milk, and then I'm going to put in 2/3 cup of warm water. So I'm just going to do 2/3 cup of water. And then this needs to be warmed. Now, you can warm it before, you can warm it. I'm going to put it in the microwave now on 30 seconds. But I'm going to take my, y'all words are hard today, my thermometer. And I'm going to go over here. You won't be able to see me, but you will be able to hear me. So I'm going to put this on 30 seconds. However, after 15, I'm going to check this because as I know in bread making, that this is what's going to be warm to put my yeast in to get it active. In order for that, my liquid needs to be between 105 and 110. So I don't want it to go over and I don't need it to be under. So I'm going, it's been 15 seconds. So now I'm checking it. All right, we're at 84 degrees. I'm going to do the other 15 seconds. It's really just better. Like one of the other people that I watch, she says it is really best to check this at intervals than to try to think that you're going to be able to let it go for a full 30 seconds. All right, we are at 25 seconds and we're at 94 degrees. So I'm going to check that after 5 more seconds. I don't want it to be 105. I do want to try to get it closer to 110 just because of the fact that I don't have all of my ingredients ready to go right now. Normally, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to be able to get this closer to 105, my yeast is ready to go. I've got everything sitting. I do not right now. Actually, while I'm doing that, I'm going to grab my yeast. I keep my yeast in my freezer. If you guys have watched any of my videos before, you will know that. All right, we are ready to go right now. So I'm going to pull this out. So this is our milk and our water warmed up. It's a little warmer than I want, so I'm just going to let it sit here for a moment because what's going to happen, especially here in just a second, I'm going to go ahead and stir this up because I haven't stirred it up. And then I can go ahead. It's at 112, so I'm going to give it just a moment. But while that's cooling off, I'm going to need sugar and 2 tablespoons of oil along with the yeast. So I've got to double this. So do not forget to double this. Now here's the thing with this recipe that we are using. When I did it last time, which was the first time, it kind of caught me off guard. And I told my husband it caught me off guard. Because normally with these recipes, you get a couple of teaspoons of yeast here or there. Then you have to let it rise. You have to let it double. Well, with this one, you use a lot of yeast. We're going into the tablespoon category size. And this is going to triple rise instead of double rising. So to this, I need to add, it says 4 tablespoons of sugar. Yes, this is a very sugary, but there again, you need that. So since I'm doubling this, I'm going to need to use 8 tablespoons of sugar. Now this called for vegetable or canola oil. I did use olive oil. All right, so we have put a lot of, third cup, half a cup, a tablespoon of yeast, 4 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of oil. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my sugar first. So if I need 4 tablespoons and I'm doubling this, I need 8. Yeah, I need to look that up and see what that is. How many cups? I have to admit, this is a very good bread. All right, I think that's 8. I'm going to have to stop and count. Y'all hold on for me. I'll be right back. All right, I did. I went back and counted. That was 8. Now, I need 4 tablespoons of oil. All right, 4. And I need 2 tablespoons of yeast. That tablespoon is full. I've got a 2 tablespoon. It's actually a coffee measure, but it's 2 tablespoons. So 2 tablespoons is 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to put that in there. And then we are going to stir this and let this start blooming. It says to stir all of this together. Okay. Sugar has dissolved. All right, it'll take about 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to put this back up. And then we're going to do the next step, because what I have found out while your yeast is blooming, you do have the opportunity to get the rest of your ingredients together, because a lot of them do have wet and dry ingredients. Now the next part says to use the bowl of your mixing bowl. So I'm coming over to my KitchenAid, grabbing my bowl. Okay. Now in here I'm going to combine the flour, baking powder, and salt. So I have flour, baking powder, and salt right here. And I'm just going to use regular all-purpose flour. So I need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, which means I need 5 cups of flour. And yes, there is a reason I'm doubling this. I made this last time, and it was such a hit that one batch is not going to do for everything that I'm going to do. So I need 5 cups of flour. This is a 1/2 cup measure, so I'm going to do 10 of these. Yes, I do mine this way. This is the way I was taught. And you'll see me do it another way, but for this, I'm going to do it this way. So I'm not packing down my flour. So here's the thing. This flour is already a little more dense than what I'm used to. 5. All right, we've got 2.5 cups there. We've got to do 2.5 more, because once we doubled this, the original recipe calls for 2.5. All right, y'all, I'm almost done. I got one more to do after this one. All right, there's what I need. I'm going to take that measuring cup out, and I only left it in there because I knew I was doing this tonight. So, because I made bread earlier today. Okay, so it said to combine flour, baking powder. So I need a teaspoon of baking powder, because it calls for 1/2, and I'm doubling. So a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So I need 1/2 of a teaspoon. So there's 1/2 of that teaspoon. Did not want to mess up a 1/2 a teaspoon measure, so I just used 1/2 my teaspoon. All right, and then I'm going to need 6 cups of vegetable oil. Now I do have my vegetable oil, and I have another big measure. Here we go. This is 4 cups, so I'll have to do more. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take you over to the stand mixer. Okay, So I've got you facing the mixer. So this says to take this bowl. This is our dry ingredients that we just put in here. This is the flour, the sugar, and the baking powder. And it says sorry y'all. It says to mix those ingredients in. Alright, those ingredients are mixed in. Then it says pour the wet ingredients to the dry. Hold on. Hang on one second. Hold on. Oh, the vegetable oil it's calling for now is what you're going to cook it in. I've already got that taken care of. So, what we are going to do is it says to mix the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. So, I'm going to bring this over because there are some instructions in here, and I like to have my recipe close. Now, it did call for a lot of yeast and a lot of sugar. Look at that. Look at that activation on there. Alright, so it says, pour the wet ingredients in the dry ingredients mixture. Start on low speed. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this in. And like I have said before, I have a spatula because you've still got some of that good foamy yeast in there. So we're going to dump that in there. Make sure you scrape it because your sugar that may not have completely dissolved or any other yeast is going to be down there. And you want all that goodness into your bowl. So we mix that. Now it says to start slow. So we're going to start on 1 to incorporate all the ingredients. And then we're going to increase to medium and mix it until it becomes a firm, cohesive dough. Then once that happens, we'll let it knead for about 3 to 4 minutes. not turn my microphone back on. So as you saw what I did, it did not tell me to do this, but knowing bread as I do, I added some extra flour into it because it said it should not be this sticky. So what I have done is I added enough flour to it to get it to the point where I knew that it needed to be, what the dough needed to be. So that's what our dough looks like. Sorry guys, you can't see it very well. Hold on. All right. Okay, so there's our dough. Now the one thing that you're going to want to do is take it and just make sure that you are good. I did put a little flour out here on my board. Gonna get a little bit more. Put it down on here. If you can't get your dough up, grab you a bench scraper and start scraping and rolling. Scraping and rolling, that's all you want to do. So, now once you've got this done and you've got it taken care of enough like this, you're actually going to put it back in your mixing bowl that it just came out of. And then you want to get you some plastic wrap. So give me a moment to get this dough off of my hands, y'all. It has started raining here. They said that it might, so that may, very well may, change the time on my dough, which is perfectly fine. But it does need to triple. So it says 2.5 hours. And I've got a feeling it's going to take all of that. So it is now 4:35. This dough has to rise until 7 o'clock. I was going to try to, no. Yeah, 7 o'clock. I was going to try to do it before, but that just didn't happen. It's been a busy day. It's okay. Because even though the dough's going to rise in that amount of time, we'll have other things to do then. So, all right, guys. So I will see you probably in a couple hours. Because even though that has to rise for a bit, we have a few other things that need to be done before dinner. So I will see you in a bit. Okay, everybody, it has now been 2.5 hours since we started our dough. So here it is now. It has tripled in size. And it looks like this. It's not a round, firm dough like the other one was because it had to triple. So it is very airy, very light. You can see that. Now, the one thing, I was trying to get everything set up for us, but I forgot this part. I need pans to put these on after we shape them. So let me grab a couple of those. Now, my suggestion is to make sure that you are using parchment paper under these because this is a stickier dough. It's not a firm dough like your bread or anything like that. Because you did have to triple rise this dough, it is a little more tender than what we've worked with before. But I'm going to tell you, it's absolutely amazing. They loved it. It was delicious. And it's very easy to do. All right, so parchment papers. You are going to take and put a thin layer of flour down. And then you're going to turn this out like you do any other dough. But as you turn it out, you're going to see it's extremely stringy because of the fact that it is a lighter dough than a bread dough. And it is extremely yeasty because, you know, we put all of that yeast in there. All right. Now, this says to take this and roll it out to 1/4 of an inch. I tried that last time, and 1/4, according to my bench scraper, was just too thin. So I'm going to roll this out to where I feel like it needs to be. Don't get me wrong, the thinner ones were good. I just think that the ones that I left a little bit thicker were better. I also did not think, I think they need to be bigger than they called for. So I will show you this. Now, if you want to do this and do it to the 1/4 inch, you go right ahead. On most of your bench scrapers, you will have a measuring ruler on that side, so you can take it down to the 1/4 inch. My suggestion is just make sure you get it consistent in the thickness all the way around. Make sure it is even as far as the thickness. Don't bubble it up in one area or the other, because you don't want to get an inconsistent fry. All right. Does feel a little inconsistent, so just run your hand around. You'll be able to tell where your bumps are in your dough. And our son is really excited about this. He was not home when I made these last time. Now, this is bread that I'm just going to use. Like I said, this has a crab filling in the one in the cookbook. I have made an executive decision, which I can do because it's my kitchen and I'm the cook. I'm not doing the crab salad tonight. I'm very tired. I've had a very full day. And I feel like we don't need that tonight, honestly. We're done with this because I'm going to show you once I get these going and they are doing their second rise. I'm going to show you what I've done within the last couple of days to get ready for today. If I would have felt better, I would have made the recipe that my husband sent me was a gordita, and I will make those one day. I just don't have the correct corn masa. It calls for the regular one. I have the instant one, and until I've never worked with it before, so until I get to where I'm more confident in it, I'm not going to do that. So we're just going to make these. All right. This is the size ring they suggest using. This is your 3.5 inch circle. It says take it in here, do it. It should do 8 to 10. I'm going to do the largest one. I'm going up to the 4.4 inch. And what you're going to do is you're going to go as close to the edge as possible. And you are going to do that and then just kind of twist to make sure it comes off. And I'm going back in my flour. And you're going to do it again all the way around. Because here's the thing. This dough, it actually just tells you to cut them out and you're done. But when I did them last time, what dough I didn't use this first time, I did put back in, let it set aside, let it rest, and then I rolled it back out. I did that several times. I cannot stand to waste anything. I cannot stand to see anything not be used. So I did that last time. Whether you're supposed to or not, I have no clue. They turned out great. We loved them. They were delicious. So make sure you get down in there and get that dough cut. Because if you don't, and I can see it's going to be around here, it is a little difficult to pull it out and get it apart sometimes, but you can do it. It's not impossible. Okay, see, I don't have enough room. Now, what you're going to do with these is you're going to get you a spoon, and then you're going to take, hold on, I'll show you. Pull one of these out, and then you're going to take it and fold it over on your pan. And then you're going to take your spoon and press it on the back. I'm going to do these, and then when I get close to the edge, I will show you the rest of those and show you how to do it. I probably should have made these a little thinner, but it's okay. Push. I think pushing them down just gives them that direction that you're going to want them to take, because you are going to fry them folded like that. All right, guys. You will get some that don't look, they're not going to be in perfect circles, and that's okay. Because I'm going to tell you right now, even though they don't look like the others, they taste delicious just like the rest of them do. All right, I'm going to pull out from around. Okay. Now, I'm just going to get these on the pan, then I will show you how I finish those. I know I've gotten quiet on you. I have been working all day. I have been videoing for you guys and trying to get some things planned because we do have a pretty busy week this week. So I'm getting just a little tired, and I know my family's probably really hungry right now. All right, so that's what they look like. I always kind of laugh when I did them the first time. They almost remind me of a pierogi, folded over and kind of full. So even though there's nothing in them right now. All right, so I'm going to get this last one done, and then I'm going to fold these up. And we're going to roll this out again. Like I said, it didn't say anything about doing it, but I want to make sure that I have everything used, or as much as possible. So I don't like to waste anything. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if this is what we're supposed to do, but I did it and it worked. So we're going to do it at least one more time. Because as you saw, we had a lot of dough left over. So I hope you guys have had a wonderful day. It started raining here a couple of hours ago, about the time my husband got home from work. He got home from work about 3:30, and it was raining, which is great. We haven't had any rain in several days. We needed it really bad. And tomorrow we'll go out and check on our garden, and I'll show you what we're looking like. We do have a few things sprouting up. Okay, so let's go through this again. You know what? Do you want the size that they want you to do, so you can see what it looks like. And then what we're going to do, once we are finished with all of this, we are going to, we were supposed to spray those with a little oil, but I didn't do it yet. So I will when I get done. I've got my little sprayer over here that I will work with. Actually, I'm going to do those again. Got enough for one more. So what I have done is I did go and get some cut up beef. It's a bottom round, I think it said it was, but it's cut extremely thin. So what I did was I put it in my bowl and I went in with some marinade, and then I put a little lime juice and a little bit of honey in with it, and I threw that in the refrigerator on the beef. It's just thin sliced meat. So that is taken care of. Yesterday I made my own pico de gallo. I love to make my own. It is literally just some tomatoes, some onion. I think it was a yellow onion. And my last little jalapeno from my garden, and some lime juice, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper. And that's it. I do not use cilantro. I absolutely love cilantro, and so does my mom. But my husband doesn't care for it, and my son can do with it or without it, so I just don't purchase any anymore. Alright. Alright, let's do this one more time. I'm going to get 1 to 2 more and then be done. And then once I'm done with this, I will let these sit for 30 minutes to do their last rise. Now, what I will do during that time is get my pan out, you and I will, to be able to cook up our meat. I'm going to get my roasting pan up here on top of my stove, on my stove top, and I'm going to get that out and get it ready to be able to cook up that meat, because it is thin meat and it needs to be cooked pretty quick. There we go. Exactly 2 more. And this little bit that's left, I'm just going to throw away. Alrighty. Pull these over, which I need to open those back up. It said to spray them. So, let me bring you around here. Hold on one moment. Alright, so as you see, I had already flipped them and pushed them over. So I'm going to ever so gently, this is why you spray them. Do you see how they're sticking together? And when I go in to cook them, I need to be able to open them so we can eat them. So let's go this way. We're going to very carefully try to open these. Well, see, I told y'all, I show y'all everything. We do everything together. We mess up together. And I don't do a step. You see it, because I want you to see that I'm not doing anything without you. So, this is going to be a mess. Here we go. These are not going to be perfect, but that's okay. Dadgummit. Okay, so I did have to just take a moment because I was getting very frustrated, but I did get them opened back up. As you see, this one we did together, so I'm not going to open it back up. So I'm spraying all these down inside, and that keeps them from sticking when you push them over. Now, what I did was I went ahead and did these off camera. So then you just push these together, you just wrap them over, and then you slightly push with a spoon to push them together. Now, one of them I did have to, I had to roll back out because he looked bad. Don't laugh. He's gonna look a little different. There's that one, and then I got one more. So now they're all in here, and they've got 30 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is put them back over here. I do not need my pad and my silicone pad anymore. So what I'm going to do is just put them over here. Show what I'm going to do. I'm not going to turn you off. I'm just going to bring you right over here. You get to see my mess and everything that I have right now. But what I'm going to do is pick these two up and throw them over here. And I'm going to take this pan right here and put it here. And then I'm going to put this other pan right here. I'm going to cover these up. It says to cover them up with plastic. I've got my towels that I've always used. I love my towels. I'm going to cover these up, and we got 30 minutes. So I'm going to take a few minutes to get myself back together from being aggravated at these things. And then we'll come back and cook our steak. And I'll show you everything else that we have that's ready. And now that this part's done, dinner will probably be ready. Once we can fry those fry breads off, we'll start. Dinner won't take long to come together. The longest part is the rising. So we'll see you in a bit. Okay, there we go. I've got my microphone on now. So now you can hear me. All right, so I've got my pan here. Now what I am doing is I just need to get this hot enough to put this meat in there and just sear it really quick on both sides. So I'm going to get this good and hot. I don't have a griddle, so I do put this on both of those and then just do it all at one time. And then once I'm done with this, I will take this off, put the oil back there, and we'll fry up the bread. That's still rising. It's not ready yet. So we're going to do the meat first. And I really would like to know if you guys try any of these recipes. Like I said, this one's a newer one for us. This isn't something that we normally do. This is just a bread recipe that I found that we really like, and it's good to be able, you can pretty much stuff anything in it. Once I get it done, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to do the crab salad one day. That'll probably be for lunch, honestly. When we need a quick, easy lunch. I am wiping down my wooden cutting board. So it's going to take this just a few minutes to warm up. Normally at this point I would start doing other things, but I've already got the cheese crumbled. I've already got the pico done. The sour cream is in there. I bought guacamole because I did not have any avocados. So in order to be able to make the breads and things, I did skimp on a few things here and there. And I bought a few things already made to make life easier for me. So all that's done. So all I have to do is cook this meat really quick and then cook the bread. So once I get the bread going and I get it moved off, I'm going to actually have to take one of my big racks with the draining rack on it, one of my big pans with the draining rack, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and get everything ready to set up for when I'm done with that. But we're going to put that on the draining rack. So I've got that ready to go. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and spray this down really well because this pan is pretty hot. As soon as I did hit that, I heard it. So I'm going to grab some tongs and start in with this meat. I'm going to show you. It is really thin. Thin pieces. Eventually what I want to do is be able to get the one that they have at Costco. It's the big steak cut, extremely thin for steak sandwiches and things. I've watched, in particular, one YouTuber do it, and I really want to do it. You see how thin that is? It's excellent. You want something thin, you want something that's not going to take long to cook. And that's what this will do for us. It won't take it long to cook at all. I really wish you could just smell. Because with what I put on here, the marinade that I use, and I'm going to tell you, use whatever you want to. I used a little bit of marinade that's similar to one that we like. My husband's favorite one is the Dale's sauce. I did not get out to the store to get that this time. But where we get our meat from, he has a different brand, but it's very similar to the Dale's. Now I just want to leave it, so I put that in here, and I probably put about a quarter cup of the Dale's in with it, if that much. And then I put a little bit of lemon juice and a little bit of my homemade taco seasoning. I'm trying to be quiet because I'm telling y'all secrets here. So I'm just going to flip those over. Oh, that looks amazing. Amazing. And once this is done, I'm going to throw it in something. I'm going to use my bread pan because I want all of the juices to still stay in here. Oh, they smell so good. Throw these smaller ones in here. Oh, I wish you could smell this though. They are so tender, they're already ripping apart on me. Now what I got was bottom round roast, and that's what I'm using here. Actually, I think this would work really well too if I ever wanted to do pepper steak. That's the thin type of meat that you need for that. So we're going to cook these pieces. It shouldn't be too much longer. It smells amazing though. And then once we're done with this, I'll put that over there and I'll let me grab some foil while those are still cooking so I can cover these up. And then once we're done with this, we'll get our bread done, and we are just on a roll today. And I'm going to tell you right now, I love this roasting pan. We found it when we were out roaming around and going to thrift stores one day. And there's one just up the road from our house. And I got this for like either $3 or $5. And it has been the best thing. So I put that other one over my pan. Flip these over. I'm going to go ahead and turn this front one off because I'm now done with this front burner. The back one here in a moment, I'll move my pan to. Actually, if you watched my videos, I did a ham and cheese slider video with homemade French fries. And since that was fries and potatoes that I used earlier, this oil is still really good. So I'm going to use it to fry my bread in. So I'm going to turn my burner down, my back burner down. Alrighty, y'all. So I'm going to move that pan out of the way. I'm going to take my pan and move it off the heat so it can start cooling off. And then I've got my pan of oil right here. I'm going to say here. Now that needs to come up to 350 degrees according to the recipe. Now, I am covering up my beef there. And then just to make sure that I'm not going to burn myself, because you guys have been with me when I have burnt myself plenty of times, I'm going to go ahead and put me a couple pot holders over here. And I am moving this completely out of my way. And I'm pretty sure that my husband and my mother and the child will appreciate me doing that, because I am really bad to burn myself. So there's the oil that's heating up. We're going to start with this pan. But I'm also going to show you, I'm going to start with this pan. But I need this pan, so I'm going to gently pull this off so that I can set that back on the bar and put my rack in it. Okay, pull those back out. Thank you. I had a hand walk in, a very handsome hand, so he moved and took care of my tray for me. All right, we're at 110, so let's give that a couple more minutes. I'm telling y'all, this is so interesting. So this is what they look like now. I'll show you before I put them in. Some of these did not do well. This is one of the ones that I messed up. So I'm going to save it for last, and I'll throw it in there at the end just to see what happens with the ones that I've messed up. Because several of them I messed up really good. But it's all right. I got plenty more. No problem. But I do like the fact that the bigger ones turned out bigger, so they'll be easier for me to stuff. I'm going to stuff them with that beef that we just fried off. They'll be delicious. Let me just double check my timing on this one. Let's see here. 350, just to make sure. Now you gently place it in the oil and fry until the outside's lightly browned, about 1 to 2 minutes. You flip it over and cook for a minute. Do not brown the other side. So you don't open it up and brown it. You do leave them folded and then brown them this way. Let me grab my, I'm going to need this. Then I'm going to need, possibly need my other tongs. Now I do have my rack with the roasting rack on it. what I'll do is just line them up on here when we're done. I'll show you when we're finished with them. And then I have this whole other pan over here as well that look great. Call it a mess those up. Okay, while that's warming, I'm going to take off my silicone mat there. So this says 1 to 2 minutes on the first side, and then flip it for a minute on the other side. And I can tell you that's pretty much how it worked last time. And yes, don't worry, everything was cooked thoroughly with absolutely zero worries. We gotta let that warm up pretty good. It's getting there. So when it warms up, I'll see you back here. Give me a few. Okay, so our oil is at 350. Now this is the original size that they have you make. So we're going to put that one in there. You're going to dump that in. I'm going to grab a couple more that I have. And then you're going to let those go for a minute or two. Ooh, look how poofy that one got. Some of them got a little extra poofy, y'all. See how they're plumping up in there? I'm going to put one more. There. Now it's 7:44. Almost 7:45. We'll just turn 7:45, so we're going to go to 7:46. I've got my handy dandy little turner here. And then we're going to flip these over. Because see, they're not quite done on one side. So I'm going to flip it back over. And then we're going to let that go for another minute. I have my pan back here to put them on when they're done, so that they will be able to drain. Because you are frying this, so you will get oil on them. Just so you know, I don't want people to be surprised. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, because I did mess them up, like with that one. It may or may not open when I go to open it. If I have to cut it open, I'll cut it open. We make it work, right, guys? That's what I'm saying anyways. Everything can be used one way or the other. And that's what we're going to do. All right, so it has now been probably a minute and a half. I'm going to turn these over. See how golden brown that is? Those are beautiful. Now, sometimes I do have them flip back over. I will just turn them back over. And that will only stay for a minute. And then I'll pull these back up. So this is going to take a few. I don't want you to have to watch me stand here and talk to you while I fry up all these, because it's going to take a few minutes. So what I'm going to do here in just a moment is I'm going to let you just watch me do this. I'm going to speed up for you so you don't have to stand here and watch me do this the whole time. But if you see, as they're starting to cook, they are splitting for me. So I will be able to get some food down in there. I'm going to leave those for just a moment, and I'm going to pull these out. And we're just going to keep frying these up until they're ready. Okay, everybody, you saw how easy that was. So we've got them all done. And the latter ones did get a little darker, but that's normal because your oil is hotter. So one of them did flop back open, so I'm actually just going to lay it out flat and build my meat on top of it. Now, these, as you watched me, even though this one turned out wonky, I can still open it. You want them to be able to open. This type of bread is meant to be stuffed. So if you can open it, that's where you're going to put your things. Now, what I have talked about, my husband and I were talking about this. I want to take and put something sweet in there, like my strawberry preserves or something. So I'm going to show you what I've got, and we're going to build our fry bread. I have the white cheese, sour cream, homemade pico that I made yesterday. That is just tomatoes, onions, my jalapeno from my garden, garlic powder. Oh, I did put one of my garlic pucks in here that we made the other day. I bought some guacamole. I was working on a budget, and it was just easier for me to buy this than it was to buy avocados. And I had a feeling I would be tired, and I'm right. So got our guacamole. And then while this was finished frying, I took our steak and I sliced it and chopped it. So this is what our dinners look like, what dinner tonight looks like. You can make broccoli to go with it. You can do anything. I could have made Spanish rice if I would have wanted to. I just honestly didn't think about it. So this is the way I'm going to build one of these. I'm just going to build one, and I'm going to call everybody else in and let them do their own. So here's one here. And then we're going to take a little bit of our meat and put down in here. As little or as much as they want. This one's mine, so I'll put my fingers in it. I don't want a whole lot of meat in mine. And then I'm going to put some guacamole, some pico. Look at there. Can y'all tell I'm getting tired? I just dropped that. Told y'all you get to see everything that we do. So that, and then some cheese. Y'all look at that. Tell me that does not look delicious. Hold on. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. So I'm getting ready to make my family's night. I'm going to make their day. So, yet another recipe for us. Something quick and easy. I mean, not quick because you got to rise your bread and all, but once your bread's ready to go, the meat part and everything else just come together. So, this was a fry bread with a taco or with meat and toppings. So, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for being with me as I rambled on today. Take care of yourselves, take care of your neighbors, and I will see you next time because tomorrow we are having steak fingers. So I'll see you tomorrow night for dinner.